All right. Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back again. Another video. Another day, another video. But today is a little special. Reason being is because we're talking about the one, the only, the man, Enel and Urouge. Lightning in the bottle's finally caught. Luffy is the man he just fought. One's a god, one's false. With everything that we know now, thinking back to Skypiea changes things. You're talking about a sun god, and here we have one. One's a real god, one was fake. Luffy was rubber, Enel was lightning. You think that was on purpose? I think so. Or was it? Everyone has this idea that Enel's a fake god because he thinks he's a Loki, thinks he's on top. But obviously he's not the only Loki in the world. He knows of Loki, the power. Does he mean to say that all Lokians have to resonate with the moon or the gods? Who knows? I don't want to get too deep into headcanons, but let's think about things logistically. In order, we get Enel. A Logia. A man who challenged the god in Luffy, then became one, Sun God Nika. They hailed the sun god in Skypiea, and now Wano does the same chance, but they don't even know. Joy Boy has arrived, Zunisha said. That means things are starting to change, the water's starting to move. Pieces are falling into place yet again. But one piece still remains to be played, and that is Enel went to the moon. He found some information, he learned a couple things. Is he coming back? Everyone's speculating, I think everyone wants him to. The return of Enel, I can see it. They say winter is coming. How about a storm? Dragon can conjure up storms. Luffy, Law, Kid are creating them. The man deemed a god is going to come back and show why he is a god. Why he went to the moon. Why his beliefs are stronger than everyone else's. Luffy, you're getting stronger, but I think so is Enel. You ever trained on the moon? That gravity low-key hit different. But like I gotta say, man, this man Enel is going to play a huge part later coming in. So buckle up, because a god has arrived. One, Urouge, Enel, the one, the only. Yeah, that laugh was terrible, but let's get into it. All right. With all that being said, where's my picture? My picture's gone. There we go. With all that being said, I actually want to start off this video talking about the Birkins. Because honestly speaking, they're interesting, all right? Really, really interesting. So we know that Mad Monkey Rouge was a Birkin. We know that from the Braves, Enel fought some warrior, possibly Urouge. But Enel ended up destroying Birkin, taking some priests, and landing himself in Upper Yard, Skypiea. Then we go to the moon and not only learn about the Birkins, the Skypeans, and the Shandians, but Enel finds a city controlled by his very power. Not necessarily his, but just his power was able to bring it back up, named Birka. See, now things are starting to raise suspicion. We have two instances of Birko, one in the sky and one in the moon. And then we not only get that, but we also get Enel's cover story. In Enel's cover story, we have these things called automata. They're cute little toys, right? They're ascending to the moon via balloon. Interesting. But then we fast forward, and now we get the introduction to one of the strongest Yonko in the whole series, Kaido. And then we learn Urouge is there relaxing on Balloon Terminal. Urouge is the next Birkin. Automatas flew to the moon and found a new Birkin. You could play it off as coincidence, but I think not. The reason why the Birkins are really interesting to me is because, one, Enel's ideology. He said, from the island I was born, this is how we believe things were. But Mag Monk does not seem to have the same ideals. If he did, he would fall Kaido right then and there. He's a god, watching someone descend from the skies. That's what Enel wanted the whole time. Birds are with birds, people with people. The island in the sky is unnatural. So then he does this whole thing of building a ship, right? And we know from Water 7, building a ship ain't the easiest thing in the world. But not only a ship basically entirely made of gold to conduct the electricity from your main body. So now I ask you guys the question. Was it the shipwrights from Birka who was able to build this ship? Was it Enel who was able to build this ship? Both answers bring us back to something really interesting. If Birka had the technology to build a ship based solely off Enel's power, and then we have a city on the moon named Birka completely being powered by Enel, is that another coincidence? I think not. So I believe not only are the Birkins are highly intelligent beings, but I also think we have another person who may be a Birkin. And this is why I wanted to talk about it. All right. Right now, we don't have any idea where Enel is. He's on the moon. We have no idea where Urouge is. He was in the sky. That means there has to be one more Birkin somewhere, and they're on land. And I believe one Dr. Vegapunk may be a Skypiean, or Birkin, excuse me. Reason being is because after everything we learned, a lot of things are tied directly to Dr. Tsukimi, Moongazer, Dr. Vegapunk, the man, the lineage factor, Caesar the clown, Queen, Judge. It's all something to do with lineage, right? So I believe Dr. Vegapunk may actually be from the sky. Skypieans are intelligent, the Birkins are highly intelligent, and the Shandians were the only ones that weren't, but it's mainly because they don't actually understand how to read the poneglyphs. And this is why I think the Birkins actually do. Hear me out, ladies and gentlemen. We know that kid just went to Big Mom's territory and got a poneglyph. The only other person to do so was one Mad D Monk Urouge. All right? Why? We know one thing. You can only go to 3 islands after you leave Fishman Island. Risky Red, Raijin Island, and Mysteria Island. But why are those 3 things interesting? Well, one, because Raijin Island is an island of electricity and lightning. Connect that to Enel. Last time we saw Urouge, or the first island we saw Urouge go to, was Raijin Island, who was able to actually traverse the island because of Casa. Right? Where did Kid go? Right? Did Kid go to Raijin Island, Risky Red, or did he go to Mysteria? You see, him and Urouge have been following the same path since the beginning of the New World. I believe Urouge went to Raijin Island. I think Kid went to Raijin Island. I think Urouge and Kid possibly found out information about poneglyphs from Raijin Island, and that's why they went to Big Mom's territory. And even to the introduction of Kaido, Kid's island was right below, and Urouge was right there. They've been following each other the whole time, so it only makes sense that Raijin Island is the reason why. And this brings you back to Enel. It's just Delphi the one that created that island. So now we bring the music, and we talk about it. I was going to take a swig of water, but I forgot my water jug in the other room. Forget about it. We're going to continue without it. The reason why Enel is really interesting, right, is because Skypiea is an unfinished arc, my man. You see, every time Luffy takes out the main villain, that's it. They're out. They're gone. The Marines take him, and then somehow, some way, they maybe get away from the Marines. Maybe they're aided by Luffy later on. There's 2 people who haven't yet. Doflamingo, he was really fresh. That's why. It's really recent. But Enel was still able to go to the moon. On the moon, he found out a couple things. Birkin, Skypiea, and Shandians all lived here. Built these things called the automatas and left to find resources via balloon, the same balloons the automatas took later on to go up. What comes up must come down, ladies and gentlemen. Enel went up to the moon, found out information, and now has an army. Space pirates on the moon? Why? No one's questioning this? The space pirates were digging into the moon to find something. What did they find? Birka. A man who has knowledge 5,000 years into the future. Interesting. Where do you get that information from? A place inaccessible to other people. Knowledge that can't be found anywhere else. A place that can't be traversed by just anybody. I think Dr. Vegapunk came from the moon. And Enel coming down sort of adds implications to why this information on the moon has to be shared with the rest of the world. The space pirates were building to find something. They weren't just going to stay there. If people came down from the moon to find resources, they had to follow suit. Enel is a god. He stays on the moon ruling over robots with no personality. He's a man who likes his fun. He created a whole game out of the island's rivalries for years. You think he's not going to put his hat in the ring? The god, Enel, and Urouge. And to add a little bit more spice, Urouge is this random character, basically calling, let's call it karma. And what karma does is it delivers retribution. Enel, you destroy Birka. Urouge needs to throw hands. He need to get the dub. He wants his rematch. Bring it down here where the real boys fight. The Blue Sea. Urouge has to see Enel, man. He's a whole character built around karma. Enel literally destroyed Birka. A land probably vast with knowledge. When we take a step further, Birkins are also shown to be the only people in the sky who can have access to hockey. Enel, Mantra, the priest. Mantra, the priest came from Birka. No, actually, the priest, yeah, came from Birka. Excuse me. An island of hockey users, an island of highly intelligent beings because of Enel. Enel was actually using his devil fruit to listen into the conversations throughout the whole. Come on, bro. Think Enel's not dumb. And this brings me now to Urouge. All right. The Birkins are interesting. Enel's interesting. Ryujin Island is really interesting, and I'll get that to the end of the video. But Urouge is the most interesting character to me, strictly because he has no place right now. I mean, you can create a storyline with him actually going to the moon. That'll be really interesting because he was on Balloon Terminal. But essentially, he's like in purgatory. He's not going to heaven. He's not going to hell. He's just sitting there. He's a monk. All right. So the more I think about it, I feel as though he may get involved in a storyline that all of us have been waiting for. Right? Enel has connections to Elbaf strictly because of his devil fruit. You have Loki, you have Enel using Thor. Obviously, semantics, using the name of an attack really isn't the same thing as, being the actual person. I get it. But Enel, you can make an argument that he has some connections to Elbaf with that. But Elbaf is the land of giants, and we have this person who has an unnamed devil fruit up until this point in the series, which is really interesting, that basically takes damage and not only increases your physical strength, but also the size of your body. That sounds really interesting. A human being able to turn the size of a giant? I think we just saw that. Luffy. So now, I think since Enel has been following Kid this whole way, and now basically Urouge is somewhere in the same area as either Kid, Luffy, or everyone else. We now have Luffy, Law, and Kid picking directions. And then we see in the bottom left corner of the page, we see a compass. Basically flipping the direction of the map in most people's heads. Most people didn't understand how the One Piece world was actually mapped. And now we have more of an idea. Just like in the beginning of the new world, you can only go to 3 places, right? Risky Red, Ryujin Island, and Mysteria Island. And now, again, it's like, wow, we're starting the final saga. This is like starting a new world all over again. The new part of One Piece. The One Piece. 25 years in the making. And now we have yet another decision. One of 3 islands. Do we get a situation that repeats itself? They're going to go to one of the 3 islands, but somehow, some way, they end up somewhere they weren't supposed to be. Maybe Luffy realizes it's Shanks and wants to give the hat back, so he chases Shanks. Obviously, that's a terrible idea. I don't think it's going to happen, but it could. And I believe the only way for things to play out is that if we see Urouge in a place that the Straw Hats end up going, that may actually be the island, but may not actually be the island, depending on something happening. And the something happening that a lot of people aren't realizing is King Cobra's dead. Vivi is missing. Did people forget that? You think Luffy knows? I don't think Luffy knows yet. And because of that, I think that's why we actually end up seeing Urouge and actually go into an island that may be completely different than what we're expecting. Like, I want to go to Elbaf for sure. For sure. But at the same time, I think Luffy may do something about Vivi. And this is why the one Straw Hat position has been open this whole time. If you go on Wiki, you still have Vivi, the honorable member of the Straw Hats. You think the Straw Hats are going to stay still knowing that Vivi's missing? I don't think so, bro. But say they do. That means they're making their way to this new island. What island is it going to be? The only thing that makes the most sense is that it's Elbath, right? Everyone wants to see Usopp have his arc. Everyone wants to see Usopp have his glow up. We need it to happen. Please, Oda, give it to us. It's going to happen in Elbath, but do we go to Elbath right now? We have a couple giants that would love to see Elbath right now. Heck, they may have gotten picked up by Dorian Bragi. I mean, Hyrule may have picked up Dorian Bragi, but I don't want to sidetrack too much. We may get a situation where the Straw Hats actually go after Vivi to go try to find out what happened to Vivi. Especially since Sabo's involved, that means Luffy may get involved with the revolutionaries. If he gets involved with revolutionaries, this timeline that we all wanted to figure out with Zoro may actually come to fruition. Because as we saw, the revolutionaries have some connection to the Shimotsuki clan. If that's the case, we actually get to see Zoro's lineage, we get to see Luffy and Dragon meet. We also get to see what happened to Vivi, possibly go a different route about things. The reason why I say we're going to go a different route is because Raja didn't take a straight route either. If you look at the map events of where Raja went, after coming to pick up Odin, remember, he snuck to Big Mom's territory, snuck to Wano, got one, went to Fishman Island, got one, and then went to Wano, got the last one. I probably did that in the wrong order, but Wano was last. Zoe was last. There we go. But essentially, if that's the case, maybe Elbath really isn't the place to go, and the place to actually get the last one is back. You go forward, you go backwards. You go up, you come down. All right. With that being said, I talked about everything I wanted to talk about in this video. It wasn't as smooth as yesterday, I didn't have my water bottle next to me. My throat gets dry, gets parched. But now let's go down the list. We can start with the Birkins. All right. Birkins are an island in the sky, housed by intelligent beings like Enel and Urouge, one capable of building a ship that can destroy an island with a snap of his fingers. Birkin is also an island that breeds the ideology that already don't understand that it's not the celestial dragons that are the... Hold on. We ain't even going to edit that out. We're going to keep going. We're just going to start it from the top. Sometimes not as smooth as we want it to be. All right. Strap in. All right, we have the Birkins. Oh, man. This highly intelligent race breeded people like Enel, a man capable of putting together a ship that can destroy an island. We have a mad monk, 108 million berries. Looking back, it really ain't that much. Went to Big Mom's territory, who knows for what. Smoked the sweet commander. Need we say more? We go to a place uninhabited, or so we thought. The moon, Verth. And on that very rock, we learned of something called Burka, the city that's been asleep for how long? 8,000 years? 800 years, excuse me? It's not going too well today, guys. Keep it moving, though. It's really interesting that we get an island that seems to be more advanced in the land of thinking, being able to use mantra, observation. Observation ties directly with the mind rope. I know utilizing his Delphi was a very intelligent being. He was not to be slept on, bro. Automatas, built by Dr. Tsukimi. Dr. Tsukimi is also a person who seemed to be well above his times. Well ahead of his times. You know who else is like that? Dr. Vegapunk. We got the depiction of Blackbeard looking at the moon. Something's going on with the moon. And no one's paying attention. But I know. We have this island, a very mysterious island that no one has been to. A very old woman hanging outside the island, giving out umbrellas for you to traverse an island created strictly of lightning. On that island, did Urouge find something that makes him want to go Big Mom's territory, or is he working with the underworld just like Kid is? We have no idea. Horizon Island, an island we really talked about but never went to. Risky Red, we never went to. Mysterio, we never went to. We started off our journey in Punk Hazard. Found ourselves in Zoe, Tato Land, and now Wano. The very place that we need all the information for to move forward. A road Poneglyph, Pluton. Need I say more? So what is the next island that the Strash will be going to? I think we're going back. I think we end up ourselves going back to save Vivi, and we end up going to Rajan Island, or at least near Rajan Island. And here's my little headcanon. All right. They go back and say Vivi, and it's possible that not only Vivi's there, but Jewelry Bonnie and Kuma. And if all three of those people are in the same area, this makes things a little interesting. One, we have Vivi actually becoming a Straw Hat. Two, we now have Jewelry Bonnie coming into the story, possibly healing Kuma, reversing time. And if Kuma's there and Kuma's healthy, Kuma's possibly with Sabo as well in the rest of the Revolutionaries. You learn a little bit more about the rest of the world. Possibly even interact with Vegapunk. But they had to go back to go forward, and because of that, I think Kuma actually helps him out again. And if Kuma helps him out again, it's most likely they also meet the one, the only Dr. Vegapunk. They work together. They may work together again. Jewelry Bonnie seems to have the end with the Marines and the world government. Who knows? The Revolutionaries can sneak in and out against two admirals and still make it out scot-free. Vegapunk being a Birkin, I don't know. Starting to sit right with me. Next island, and then when Kuma's there, send them back. And this is how we get them actually to Elbath. He says, here, you need to go to someone that you need to meet to move forward. I don't know. But that's what I'm getting at. I think the Birkins are a very slept-on race because I feel as though they were actually more intelligent than we're actually letting on. Enel's storyline is really interesting because I really do believe he has to come back down some way, somehow. I think his power is too broken just to be written out of the story. Just like I thought the same thing with Kuma. Now Kuma can possibly come back as well. So Enel coming back makes the most sense. Enel, like the Birkins being an intelligent race, also sort of ties with Enel coming back because later on Enel may tie to Dr. Vegapunk. Who knows? Rising Island is really interesting to me because just not being able to traverse the island alone makes it interesting. The fact that Raja went there out of all the islands and now was shown, sort of implies something. And in Urouge, I think Urouge is actually going to play a centrifugal part because he's probably going to have the tie to the Birkins and maybe have ties to Dr. Vegapunk and or something in Elbath too. Urouge playing a part is still up in the air to me, but I want to actually make a separate video strictly on Urouge because Urouge is probably one of my favorite characters. And next Hound, I think the Straw Hats, when they find out about Vivi, they actually go help Vivi. After finding out Cobra's dead, I don't think they're just going to sit still. It doesn't make most sense to me. But I would like to see them go to a new island. Maybe they go to a new island and they find out, then they leave. That could happen. But leave down below what you guys think. Where are they going? Hold on, let's go full cam for this. Leave down below what you guys think what's going to happen with the Straw Hats with Enel. What do you think about the Birkins? Do you think they're actually smart? Do you think I'm just pulling it on my ass? But also, next island, next Straw Hat, Carrot, Yamato, Vivi. Who's it going to be? Maybe all three. But without further ado, like I said at the end of every single video, leave a like, hit the subscribe button and the bell button to come back next time and remain in line. And until next time, y'all, stay polished. Peace.